Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Conversations with Jay and Jay. I'm your host, Josh. He is.
John.
Welcome aboard. We are discussing tonight the current state of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and DC in their expanded universe, the DCEU. But now they're rephrasing it as.
It's not definitive. It's supposed to be the worlds of DC, but that is not confirmed. It is still in the air, as far as I am aware of. Has there been anything official? No, there has not.
Without Zach, though, is there a proper direction for DC Warner Brothers to go? You and I have had multiple discussions about I can't even remember his name right now. Um, the guy who just took over has for New Line Cinemas. Help me out here.
Walter Hamada.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
That guy, and then come Comic Con, and
Yes, it was a. That's it's still really in the air. I mean, I will say this: DC, no, Warner Brothers found a way to market DC, and they owned the Comic Con. They did. Okay, it was. I mean, it got such great rave positive responses to the average consumer. Now, to an original fan base of its roots of what really got DC where it was that a lot of individuals really didn't agree with, it was kind of a disappointing. So there's a lot of regards to look at this, but we have to look at what this really is. Both Marvel Comics and DC Comics are franchises, and they are businesses, and they are there to make money. Unfortunately, at the expense of certain aspects. Profits compromise a lot of stuff. I will say that and leave it there. However, you can clearly tell that Marvel has the step above as far as getting the household brand.
I mean, you're not wrong there. I really feel like if not for the success of Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and really the first Avengers movie, we wouldn't have what we have today. I mean, but here's the thing. You and I have talked about before about what Zack Snyder brought to the DC universe. Marvel, after really thinking about it, man, it appeals to such a broad audience. Like, you don't even have to read a single comic to really appreciate these characters. And yes, it may have been Disneyfied and it may have been this, that, and the other. There's a certain quality and love to how they have connected this universe between such really vastly different characters. Unfortunately, we don't have Zack Snyder anymore, in his vision may or may never be fully realized, man. I mean,
There's a lot of ways to look at this. Marvel has set a certain bar, and doesn't matter if one likes it or not. That has made the money, and that's really what it's about. Zach had a certain vision and he had a pretty good amount of loyalty and hope and optimism fan base ratio of people that supported it and really wanted to see it. It is no longer going to happen, but DC just took more of an aggressive route, and I don't think the general public really was ready for it. It's very unfortunate, but it's just how it went down.
Now, here's the question though. Here's my conundrum. You and I both know that Zack Snyder was truly the center of what that universe was going to become. It just now it's not a comparison to Marvel, but what Marvel is doing, they've spent 20 movies now explaining one storyline while inserting origin movies along the way. You and I, we've had this discussion, and the key difference maybe what, in my thinking, is what killed DC, and like just its, no pun intended with the snap, but really just getting everyone's attention from the get-go is very hard when you don't have a backstory to care about each character. You follow where I'm going?
Oh, 100%. It was just, it appeared like it just wasn't promoted or organized properly. Zack Snyder, a lot of people, there's a lot of hate for him for whatever reasons unknown. I really can't figure that out. He really was a genuine, passionate, competent artist, and it's unfortunate that he's no longer with this potentially great property. The MCU just really is more of a well-tighter package, if that makes sense. In that regard, it caters to a broader demographic.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to say it. Yeah,
DC
right.
DC was geared toward a certain specific base, and it just wasn't profitable, but
But
highly appreciated and thankful.
but here's the thing: it was profitable until they started fucking with it. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean,
Because
Man of Steel made a lot of money. BVS,
they
even though
did.
a lot of people didn't like the theater cut, which are understandable. That was not Snyder, but that still made a lot of money. Suicide Squad did make a lot of money. Love it or like it, they made money in
They
their
made money.
in
You're right.
their first phase. They're not doing Black Panther and Infinity War money by no means. But
Or
that was but
really
that,
any other.
but that was a much larger investment. Look how much money's in
Yeah.
Marvel now. You got to get it back. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Be it marketing or
saying?
toys or
Exactly.
anything like that. That's
Exactly.
the. I feel like that also ties into it, but we'll dive into the inner depths of what really is behind DC
True. True.
and
Agree.
Marvel in the really money making machine. Yes, that governs it, but it is what it is.
Yes, absolutely. We can get back to it. Now, again,
Right
we got
now,
part one, so
yep,
this is going to go on forever.
forever.
It will.
Um,
You tell me. You tell me your thoughts on DC's new direction, because clearly it has.
it really has taken a a certain direction that I wasn't expecting. Um, Having said that, it should have been totally expected. Really, they're really trying to go the Marvel, really funny entertainment route, but I really don't think that they're getting the message of how the MCU has been built. MCU, cinematic experience. And that could even be, translate into phase 4, the Marvel cosmic universe. Like, Marvel is about to transition into a whole different thing. Like, they've already worded it as not even being phase 4, but just something entirely different again. DC, however, is just trying to play with the Aquaman and the Shazam, and while they both look really good for what they're aiming for, they're just aiming for that Iron Man and that Captain America or Thor or whatever this origin. There's basically scrapped everything else, which is stupid, and they're starting from the beginning using Aquaman and Shazam. That's what I'm seeing right now, and they're really trying to duplicate what Marvel did from the start.
It truly appears so. I mean, money does talk, and Marvel has been very profitable. Successful is really what they are.
That's
And DC just it's got the potential. It does, and it's got the talent. It's got the stories. But here's what's really look like. I truly believe we're going to get to a point of superhero comic saturation. This is going to stop at some point. And I really think the streaming services are going to definitely be a part of that. DC is ahead in that game. They have their own streaming service.
no,
They
you're
they
you're
have
you're absolutely right there.
they have that foundation set for many multiples of exchange of their product. Disney is not. I'm sorry, Marvel isn't there yet. They still own the cinematic movie going experience, but the streaming and the individual aspect, you could clearly tell they're taking different paths. Clearly,
You are absolutely right. DC is actually ahead. Really, what is DC is very good at the TV shows. Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl,
Gotham.
Legends of Tomorrow, Gotham. That's 5 TV shows versus Agents of Shield, which, yes, started off rough. People don't understand how Phil Coulson is alive. That's it's
They,
again just part of the game. They explain it. I'm not going to go into spoiler territory. Yada yada yada. That's all we have though,
well,
as
no,
far as Marvel goes.
I
No,
mean,
in as far as the connective tissue. But then you have the Netflix shows,
correct.
which are very DC in the sense of the graphicness, but the real connective tissue that makes a Marvel. I mean, it's really weird. DC started on the wrong foot after Man of Steel. Period. Simply, it's not to say BVS was a bad movie by any stretch of the word, but we know the ultimate cut was the better of the films.
Uh,
It's go ahead.
oh no,
My apologies, sir.
no. I'm sorry. Absolutely. You have to understand that DC was never really supposed to be the MCU. That's just what some corporate suits wanted to happen, and that's what DC has merged into. DC has always been good at separate chapters of their
Absolutely.
of their franchise. Nolan's trilogy, incredible. You know, uh, Christopher Reeve's Superman was really good. Um, Man of Steel and BVS, those were supposed to be part of a 5-part miniseries by Snyder. That's it. It was supposed to be a 5-part like miniseries, mini universe. Nothing nowhere near as grand as the MCU. And the MCU now is going to triple in size with the characters they just inherited. But I got to give it to Marvel. I mean, Legion to me is the best
Oh, see,
show
but
out there.
there's the thing right there. But
And
continue. I'm sorry.
no, I'm sorry. I'm done.
No, you brought up Legion. That is a property that they're going to acquire in this new deal,
Yes.
to which you and I should. You know what? Let's stop it right there. Let's go ahead and let the viewers, listeners, anybody who is tuning in chime in on what they've heard thus far.
Sounds good.
Let them connect. I hope you find something here that you really enjoy. If not, I hope you find something else in part two of this continued conversation of the MCU or the Marvel universes or versus the DC universes.
Yes. Give us some feedback. Uh, your perspective, your theories, thoughts, and ideas, feelings on the subject. We welcome this. Please.
I mean, yeah, like maybe we can play off some of these theories and, really digest, and dig into them from not just their real. Anyway, doesn't matter. Stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. John, thank you for coming out.
Thank you,
Let's go for another episode
sir.
very soon.
Yes, part 2.
Yep, part two of the MCU versus DCEU.
Thank
Quote
you.
unquote. Yep. Have a good night. Peace.